Hello, everybody. Welcome back to my channel. And today, guys, it seems like I have some bad news for you. If you thought that we were finally done with a show like Thundercats Roar, if you thought we were finally done with that art style, that maybe we were never going to see it again, well, it seems like I have some bad news for you because, yes, we are still going to get more shows. Another show that is exactly like Thundercats Roar, and it sucks because it comes after we thought we were finally done with this. After I made a video talking about how Thundercats Roar got canceled, I was so happy because I thought that maybe, just maybe, we were finally done with getting shows like this, shows that take IPs that are established, shows that take IPs that are beloved, have an already existing fan base, and just use them to kidify it and just try to make another show to try and make some money off it. And instead of putting in any actual work, they decided to just be lazy and decide to just go with this really cheap, just horrible looking art style. And when anyone comes out and criticizes it, they just say, "Oh, you're just being a bunch of babies. Oh, you're just whatever. Just insert typical Hollywood excuse here. They're just gonna come out and say that. You know they're gonna do this. But the reason why this is worse is because, well, it's both worse and at the same time it's honestly not surprising since this is coming from Warner Brothers, and I'll explain why. Like a part of me isn't really surprised by this because it's coming from Warner Brothers. Again, I'll get into the why, but let's just first talk about this. So if we finally get our first look at the brand new Aquaman King of Atlantis animated series, which I did talk about in one of my live streams. One of my followers let me know about this, and I decided to look it up on IMDb. And it said that this was supposed to be a show about Aquaman and his first days being the ruler of Atlantis. And I thought, okay, this sounds interesting, and it's going to be an animated show. I thought, okay, you know what, I'm kind of looking forward to it. And when I found out that James Wan is going to be the producer, the same guy who made the Aquaman film, I thought, okay, you know what, maybe this is actually going to be good. But then I found out some other things about it, and some other things some other things that I didn't know about it that made me realize, shit, this might be bad. And then the second this image dropped, I was like, yep, okay, oh god, this is just gonna be awful, and I'll tell you why. Okay, here's the thing. There's something else about the show that I found out that I honestly didn't know before, because I thought this was supposed to be its own standalone series, and if it was, and if it was its own standalone series and it can't and it's supposed to have this art style, the fucking Thundercats Roar art style, then you know what? I would have been able to just forget about it. I would have been able to just say, okay, whatever. You know what? I already wasted a lot of time being angry about Thundercats Roar. I didn't want to waste any more time on another show exactly like it. I didn't want to waste any of my time anymore. But the reason why I'm a little bit more upset is because it ties into the fact that James Wan is connected to this. James Wan, in case you don't know, is the one who directed the first Aquaman film that stars Jason Momoa. And what I found out is this is actually supposed to be a tie-in to the first movie. It's supposed to show you what's happening between the first movie and the second movie. This is supposed to be a tie-in. So I'm sitting here wondering, okay, so let me get this straight. This is supposed to be a tie-in, and yet you make it look like this. Like, in what world does anyone with eyes look at this and think, oh, this looks like Jason Momoa? Have you never seen what Jason Momoa looks like? Like, how could you look at this and think that, oh, this looks like Jason Momoa? Well, first of all, why is his hair green? Okay, why is his hair in this style? That's not what Jason Momoa looks like. That's not what he looked like in the Aquaman show. And if you expect me to believe he's actually going to look like this in the sequel, then you know what? I can already tell you right now, you're going to lose a lot of people. You're going to lose a lot of fans who went to go see Aquaman specifically for Jason Momoa and his long hair and his muscles and his abs. I'm telling you, you're going to lose a lot of people. And it's just, this is once again ties into it ties into the fact that Warner Brothers is just, and again, part of the reason why a part of me isn't surprised by this is because this is coming from Warner Brothers. Warner Brothers they've probably proven themselves to be one of the dumbest companies out there, and I'll tell you why. Warner Brothers owns DC, right? We all know this. DC is like, they are home to the most well-known characters in the world. Again, Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, Flash, Green Lantern, like these are some of the most recognizable characters in the world. Other than maybe if you look at Star Wars, you've got Darth Vader and Luke Skywalker, and if you look at Marvel, I would argue the only character in Marvel that is one of the most recognizable anywhere is Spider-Man. Still, even more than Iron Man, more than Thor. Yeah, I know they got really popular thanks to the MCU, but I would say that Spider-Man is still the most recognizable character out of Marvel. But if you look at DC, like they have way more recognizable characters, and honestly, DC should be destroying Marvel. They should, especially now. But they're not doing that because they're owned by Warner Brothers, who have proven themselves to be insanely fucking stupid. They have proven themselves time and time again that they're absolutely stupid. The fact that Henry Cavill doesn't have more movies out there as Superman just shows you how fucking dumb they are. Especially when you consider how popular Superman or Henry Cavill is these days. Seriously, if they gave Henry Cavill another Superman movie, that movie will make a shit ton of money, especially with a good script. So let's head on over for this and just take a look at some of the some of the descriptions for this show. Okay, this is what the show is. It's supposed to be a 3-part animated miniseries. Aquaman, King of Atlantis, will follow Arthur Curry as he tackles the first days of his new role as Atlantis' ruler, advised by Mira and right-hand man Volko. Aquaman will need to deal with unscrupulous surface dwellers, underwater threats, and his half-brother Orm, who wishes to claim the throne of his own. Now, all of that sounds interesting, except it'll be kind of hard to take seriously when the show looks like this. And you can see a lot of people are just destroying them. About just destroying them in the comments. Look at this. If you want limited character design that's pleasant to look at and cheap to produce, why not something style like Invader Zim, Hell Boss, Hazbin Hotel, Villainous, Psychonauts, The Mr. Hell Show, or Real Monsters? And it's just this person responds, aren't you going to list some pleasant to look at character designs? And they go ahead right there. Look at this. Simple character designs, but they look good. How dare you lump Invader... This guy said, okay, this I find funny. He says, how dare you lump Invader Zim in with the rest of us, not knowing that the guy who voiced Invader Zim and one of the guys responsible for the show happens to also be working on Hell of a Boss. This goes to show you that some people on the internet just don't do their fucking research. This god-awful drawing looks like it would be Cartoon Network, in which I have stopped watching due to the drawing of characters. I cannot believe I'm going to pass on an Aquaman cartoon. And this guy says, what were you expecting? Well, I think a lot of us were expecting something to actually be good. Okay? Is it too bad? Is it a shame that a lot of us expect a show to actually be good? And then this person said, yeah, see, Adult Swim did this. Look, this looks a lot closer to Jason Momoa. Why couldn't you have done something like this? And look at this person, just, yeah, I agree with you. And this guy says, is this the right vision for DCU? Honestly, I would take this. I would take this better than whatever this animation is. This animation has a character design and color, so it doesn't look like a gray blob. Well, both have characters, and yeah, they're both character designs, just that this one doesn't really have a lot of color, and that one is just, this is just more colorful, which is just, first of all, I think this honestly kind of makes more sense for Steppenwolf, if I'm being honest. And look, this is coming from someone who hasn't been a fan of the Zack Snyder DCEU, okay? This is just from someone who was just not a fan, and I still think that this looks cool. If I'm being honest, if there's one thing I'll give Zack Snyder, is that he doesn't know how to make his characters look cool. I will give him that at least. And if you want more proof, just more proof as to how fucking dumb Warner Brothers is, I just have a little bit something to show you guys, just a little something to remind you guys before I close off the video, because I said everything I wanted to say about the show. Just something to remind you just how fucking dumb Warner Brothers is. And if I show you this, maybe you won't be surprised that Warner Brothers decided to greenlight this. One of the people working on the show, happens to be someone by the name of Victor Courtwright. Now, I'm sure a lot of you have probably already blocked that name out of your head, and honestly, I don't blame you, so I'm going to apologize in advance for what I'm about to show you. But Victor, or I guess I should say what I'm about to remind you of, but Victor Courtwright, this is the guy. This is Victor Courtwright. Maybe you'll remember him now. And yes, I specifically stopped at this image just to show you how fucking dumb this guy is. This is the guy responsible for this. This is the guy responsible for Thundercats, a show that was hated by everyone. A show that was hated before it ever even aired. In fact, it was so hated to the point where Warner Brothers even tried their best to hide it. To hide the show before it was originally supposed to come out. Remember, if you saw the trailer, if you go to the end, you'll see originally this show was supposed to come out in 2019. And instead, the first episode aired the first season, I guess I should say, aired in 2020. They delayed the show a whole year because of the backlash that they got for this show. Look at this. Look at this. It still has a ratio of 37 downvotes to 3.6 thousand upvotes. And this is the guy they hired to be a showrunner for the Aquaman show. This is who they hired. They hired the guy who made this. And if you want to know just how ashamed Warner Brothers was of this show, let me remind you, this is the same show where they decided to dump the first 2 episodes on their Cartoon Network website and tried to just slide it under the radar. Slide it under everyone's radar. They thought they could just dump it on Cartoon Network and nobody will notice, except we did notice. We did notice, we watched it, and I even made a video talking about how fucking horrible that show was. Still to this day, one of my highest performing videos. And as if you need more proof as to why Warner Brothers are fucking insane and why they're all out of their minds, let me remind you, this is the same guy who greenlit an episode that caused controversy. Okay, and I feel like you all know which episode I'm talking about. I'm going to bring it up, but I feel like a lot of you guys already know which episode I'm talking about. In fact, I'm sure some of my followers know which episode I'm talking about, 2 in particular. And I'm talking about this episode specifically. The Teen Titans Go Thundercats World crossover, where they decided to openly mock fans of Thundercats. Remember this? Remember this shit? Remember this? Where they decided to go out, and here's the actual quote. It is I, Lion-O, Lord of the Thundercats. And by the way, as if to add insult to injury, they decided to bring in the actual voice of the original Lion-O from the 80s show. And they got him to say, it is I, Lion-O, Lord of the Thundercats. I've been watching you all from my perch in the cartoon afterlife. You've shown me that the Thundercats roar is a worthy successor, and anyone who says otherwise has, quote, poop mouth with poop opinions. They decided to outright insult fans of the show. Not fans of this show. No, not this show. I'm talking about this show and this show. The 2011 version and the 80s version. Anyone who's a fan of those 2 iterations, apparently you all suck, according to them. And what sucks even more is that they got the original voice actor of the original Lion-O to say this. Oh, yeah, let's not forget this. Remember this? Remember how they said this? Look, this person pointed this out in their tweet. They also had the balls to make a corpse of Panthro, which I assume is to signify the death of Earl Hyman, Panthro's VA, who died back in 2017. They decided to come out and openly mock, or they decided to have a joke in their show which openly mocks the death of an actual person. And that person just so happens to be involved in the 80s show, which a lot of people like, the same people who hate their show, for a good reason. The same person who was in charge of doing this, they decided to hire for this. That's Warner Brothers, ladies and gentlemen. That is Warner Brothers, which to me is just, I don't understand like how they can keep doing this. Like, how can they do the Snyder Cut, which got a lot of people happy, and then when you hear that there's supposed to be an animated show that is supposed to be a tie-in, which a lot of people are fans of, by the way. I would argue that there are more people who are fans of the DC animated universe than the DC film universe, or the DC, I guess, the live action films. So when you tell them that there's supposed to be a DC animated show, which is supposed to be a tie-in, I guess a sort of sequel to the first Aquaman movie, which a lot of people like, made $1 billion, and is supposed to be a sort of lead into the sequel, I'm sure a lot of people, DC fans specifically, who also, again, love the animated universe, I'm sure a lot of them were excited, and yet you decided to do this. And you hired the guy. Where's this idiot? You decided to hire the guy who made this, who also made this. That's Warner Brothers, ladies and gentlemen. That's Warner Brothers. That is the company that is in charge of these characters that we all love, that should honestly have taken over the world by now, but they haven't, because they are being run by they're being owned, I guess I should say, by a bunch of incompetent morons. That is all I have to say on this, guys. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. As always, remember to like, share this video, and of course subscribe if you haven't. Guys, remember, I do check the analytics, and I know that most of the people who watch my videos are ones who are not subscribed. So if you want to change that, just consider clicking on the subscribe button, because it will go a long way in helping support this channel. And if you are subscribed, remember to click on the bell icon, because that way you will be notified whenever I go and post a brand new video, or whenever I go live. that is all I have to say. Again, please remember to stay safe and take care of yourselves. And join me for the next video. Bye for now.